what a timeline we're in. Colts 3-0. Daniel Jones looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's why we love the NFL, man. It really is. We are back with another edition of the USA Today Sports NFL Vodcast. I'm in the catbird seat today for Joe Rivera, who's a little bit under the weather. Get well soon, Joe. But no comment from him on whether the Jets' 0-3 start has anything to do with his absence. But I'm joined with our West Coast correspondent here, Tyler Dragon. He was at the thrilling Chargers-Broncos game in the late afternoon slate yesterday. Tyler, what was it like watching some confident football and covering a Chargers team that's off to a hot start in the AFC West this year?
Yeah, this Chargers team is a whole lot different than in years past. They're off to their first 3-0 start since 2002. I was talking to Derwin James in the locker room, and he said he can't remember the last time the Chargers got to this good of a start because he was barely born. So, I mean, this Chargers team, they look a lot different. They don't chargering, that word that is so synonymous with the Chargers in years past. They're not blowing huge leads and collapsing at the end. This time on Sunday, they did blow a little bit of a 10-point lead, but they rallied back in the fourth quarter, and it was really all three phases. Offense, defense, and special teams came up big, especially in that final quarter, and they got a huge win over the Denver Broncos to improve to 3-0 and 3-0 in the AFC West division, which is huge for LA.
Chargering is not in this iteration of the roster's vocabulary, clearly, which is interesting times with Jim Harbaugh in charge out there. So very fun stuff for the Chargers. But let's get you into one of our favorite Monday morning traditions here, and that's Monday morning quarterback, morning with a U, MOURNING. So Tyler Dragon, you tell me, which quarterback are you mourning today?
Over in South Beach, it's usually a party in Miami, but they are not partying in Miami right now. Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, he has really regressed this season. I was watching that game on Thursday night. For most of the contest, he was averaging below 4 yards a completion. The Dolphins offense is resorted to just dink and dunk down the field and not utilizing probably the two most explosive wide receivers in all of football in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I mean, they are known for their speed on the outside. They got two track stars, but Tua, I don't know if he just can't get it there because his arm strength, or he just doesn't have the confidence to pass the ball downfield anymore. And it's really shown in the Dolphins offense. He's really regressed as a quarterback through 3 games of the season. Then he threw a terrible interception towards the end of the game where the Dolphins could have had a game-tying touchdown. So Tua Tagovailoa is my quarterback that I'm mourning right now because he is not the quarterback that we've seen the past few seasons.
Yeah, really dark times for that franchise and head coach Mike McDaniel there, who's squarely on the hot seat as he was kind of all offseason and into training camp, and it has not gotten better in September for them. All right, my morning pick, my sorrow this morning is actually a bit of a cop-out. I'm going at one game in particular yesterday from the AFC South, in which the Jacksonville Jaguars barely defeated the Houston Texans 17-10 in what became a rock fight between two young quarterbacks who we just expect to see a lot more from. You got Trevor Lawrence on the Jags side completing half of his passes, and I'm really mourning him because of how much his receivers let him down. PFF graded 5 drops, and that doesn't count 2 contested catches that Brian Thomas Jr. maybe should have had. And then on the Texans side, you have CJ Stroud, and they're off to an 0-3 start. The offensive line was such a question mark coming into this year, and it was something they really needed to address. Didn't get better at all. Nico Collins, over 100 yards again on his 11 targets. Awesome stud for Stroud to have, but it's just not enough. Dalton Schultz at tight end isn't going to get it done, I think. And 3 games into Nick Callie's tenure as offensive coordinator, it's just not looking good. So I'm mourning both of those guys, a number 1 pick, a number 2 pick. And it's not really on them. I think it's more of their circumstances, but that is why they have my sympathy on this Monday morning.
Yeah, I like your CJ Stroud pick. He was actually my second quarterback, just because the Texans, they have really underperformed. It seems like their offense has resorted to Nico Collins or bust. They can't really run the football. That offensive line, they weren't good last year, and they're probably even worse this year. And that's has huge problems in Houston. Houston definitely has a problem with their offense and their entire football team right now with their 0-3 start.
And not even the scientists from NASA are going to be able to save that kind of issue, in my opinion. And they're 0-3, but on the other side, we have 6 3-0 teams after 3 weeks, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna play a little game right now, sticking with the
Okay.
games here. So it's gonna be called the match game. I'm gonna give a statement, and then you match one of these 6 undefeateds
Okay.
to that statement and explain why you think that is the best one. So, Tyler, starting with which of these undefeated teams have the best chance to win the Super Bowl?
It's a cop out answer, but I got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a huge opportunity to repeat. They're one of the most complete teams in all the NFL. Their secondary took a step back. Obviously, they lost Darius Slay. But overall, they still have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. We saw what they did yesterday against the Rams. Field goal blocked by Jordan Davis, exceptional. But overall, I really do believe in the Philadelphia Eagles. They just have a complete team, and 3-0 despite Saquon Barkley being pretty much contained through the first 3 games of the season, and Jalen Hurts not really getting the passing game going, with the exception of the second half against the win against the Rams. So it's the Eagles to me.
Yeah, Philadelphia to me right now is kind of like this sleeping giant in a way that people still aren't like really high on them. Things haven't fully been clicking, but they're 3-0. They've got some really good wins, I think, to start this year. And
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to remind people of how the Chiefs were last year, coming off a Super Bowl win. They kind of just cruised through the regular season despite all of these last second wins in all of these unorthodox ways. And that's kind of how I see this year playing out for the Eagles. All right, Tyler, your biggest surprise among our 6 undefeated teams is.
The only answer I believe is the Colts. I mean, 3-0, the first 2 games of the season, they didn't punt. Daniel Jones is one of the league leaders in passing yards. You got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield leading the league in rushing. I would not have predicted the Colts to get off to a 3-0 start, and Daniel Jones being one of the best quarterbacks in NFL through 3 weeks. So they are certainly a surprise.
What a timeline we're in. Colts 3-0. Daniel Jones looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's why we love the NFL, man. It really is. All right, next category, and I have a pretty good idea of who you're going to pick for this superlative among the undefeateds. But who's got the best coaching job right now? Like, who's doing the best job as a head coach?
Well, if your guess was Jim Harbaugh, then that is correct. I have Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he likes to say, "Who has it better than us?" Right now, it's the Chargers, 3-0, and their defensive coordinator deserves some praise too. And Jesse Minter is one of the best defensive coordinators in all of football. Justin Herbert quietly playing an MVP level football. I mean, this Chargers team is looking like a complete football team, and I really like the job that Jim Harbaugh's done. He's really changed the culture for the Chargers franchise.
Yeah, Jesse Minter, longtime member of that Harbaugh family coaching tree. He will be getting some head coaching interviews this offseason, methinks.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then our last category here for the match game for our undefeated squads is who's going to lose this week. We do have one guaranteed loss in the potential NFC Championship game matchup between the Eagles and Bucks. So one of those teams is walking out with an L. But who's got the biggest chance of losing in Week 4?
I'm going to stay right there in Tampa Bay. I believe it's going to be the Bucks. Now, granted, Tampa Bay has had the Eagles' number of late. They have won 2 straight games against the Eagles, including a playoff game. But Tampa Bay, they've been playing with fire through the first 3 weeks. I mean, they could almost be 0-3. They've really had comeback wins, last second wins throughout the first part of the season. So it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're banged up a little bit. Mike Evans went down with a hamstring. We don't know if he's going to be able to play in week 4. If he doesn't, if he's not in the lineup, that's a huge loss for the Buccaneers. And to me, it's just they're going to run up against a really good team in the Philadelphia Eagles in week 4.
Yeah, man, that rookie wideout, Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State, he's going to win some fantasy leagues this year. And as you mentioned, Todd Bowles, Jalen Hurts slayer, perhaps. I guess we'll find out on Sunday. You know, the Bucs head coach seems to have Hurts's number, and Todd Bowles was quite honest yesterday when he was asked about his team's late game performance against the New York Jets. So they had a field goal that was blocked, returned for a touchdown. They are able to drive down the field, kick a game-winning field goal as time expires. So special teams almost cost the Bucs a game against the Jets yesterday, but special teams gave us so many awesome moments there at the end of that early slate, and then even more blocked kicks in the late afternoon slate. And on Sunday Night Football, there was a blocked extra point. I know the Giants have their kicking issues, but the highlight was one that we kind of talked about earlier in the episode, right? Jordan Davis's denial at the buzzer on Josh McCarty from 44 yards out, swings the game from a Rams win to an Eagles win with that alone. And then he takes 61 yards to the house for the touchdown. Significant to some on that final score for all you Vegas heads out there. But, I mean, he reached, Tyler, 18.59 miles per hour, according to Next Gen Stats. Thank you, Next Gen Stats, for measuring these types of things. It is the fastest a player who weighs more than 330 pounds. Jordan Davis, really big boy. So he checks in at around 336 pounds, I believe. Fastest recorded speed for a player that size since they started this type of tracking back in 2017. So it got me thinking, Tyler, what has you running all out full sprint? Like, what is waiting there at the goal line for you that makes you give 18.59 mile per hour effort to go and score that touchdown?
Well, you put me on the spot here. I would like to think I'm faster than Jordan Davis, being that he's 100 pounds heavier than me as a former track athlete. I did have a 4.56 40 back in my day. I'm not in my prime anymore. So maybe if I got in the heat of competition, I can beat Jordan Davis in a race. But that big boy was moving. Shout out to him. 330 pounds, 336 to be exact, to run nearly 20 miles per hour is just amazing. And that was probably the play of week 3 for sure.
Yeah, play of week 3 might go down as one of the plays of the season. And on my end, look, what's going to have me running that fast? Absolutely nothing. Nothing in the world. It was 2.5 years ago, Tyler. I sprinted all out for the last time. I was playing slow pitch softball. I had a ground ball to shortstop. And like my 5th at bat, I was 4 for 4. I wasn't going to get out in slow pitch softball. So I busted down the line, and that was the last time I went 100% full sprint, because my right hamstring did not like that. And I will not be going through another rehab in which I'm healing grade 1 strains. So that's it
You were
for me.
safe,
No
though,
more
right?
top
At
speed.
least you were safe.
No, I was out.
Oh,
So I
wow.
wasn't
You were even
worth it.
out and you sprinted that?
I mean, that's it, man. 100% effort, and that was like my hamstring had enough. So that was it. That's the last time I ever sprinted, and and that's that. When you get up there, kids don't get old, but even when you are old, you get to still enjoy the little things in life, like a great Monday Night Football matchup, which we hopefully have here with the Detroit Lions traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Couple good offenses going on. Maybe we'll see some points, and hopefully it's definitely better than the Chargers Raiders late Monday night game last week when we had that doubleheader. So let's get into some game picks here, Tyler. Who you got on Monday night?
The Ravens are my Super Bowl pick, so I'm riding the wave. Baltimore needs to start winning these games against these upper echelon teams, especially after losing to Buffalo in week 1. I got Lamar Jackson and the Ravens winning Monday night.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on the Ravens as like my just straight up pick. They have some crazy stats out there, and we can look those up for you. But it's under the lights, prime time. John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson. The record is unbelievable, and I like the Ravens offense going against the Lions defense in this one. I like Ravens scoring 30 plus points here. And maybe the Lions keep it close, give us an entertaining one, but I definitely have a Ravens win. So there you have it for our Monday night picks.